Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 6, somewhere in there, the Hammer and Hustles podcast, where we talk about all things restoration, insurance restoration industry related topics. Um, I have today Adam. Adam runs a restoration business down in Florida, correct? It's Orc Services. Does that sound right? If I did my
Yeah,
research. And I wasn't even going to try and pronounce your last name. I wouldn't expect anybody to try and
it's
pronounce mine either.
Ogilvie.
Ogilvie?
Ogilvie.
Yeah. Yes. So just like it's spelled. Oh. um, but Adam's name came on our radar here when I was talking to a good friend of mine, Lisa Cimaroli, and the CEO and founder of Roof Rider Academy, who's based in Jacksonville. Along with another one of our really good friends, Tom Dring from Eagle. Well, he was from Eagleview. Now he's with Da Vinci Roofscapes, who lives in Jacksonville as well. But they had Adam on their radar, and so when I heard what he was doing in Florida, I know that the restoration industry, insurance restoration industry specifically, what happens in Florida usually trickles down to the other states eventually. Um, so hearing what Adam was doing to protect the policyholders of the great state of Florida, I thought that we should reach out and have a conversation around that. Episode 2, we had a local public adjuster here who's based in Des Moines, Iowa. He's in 25 other states, Caden Tinklenberg. We were talking about some of the legislation that Iowa had going on at the time, which unfortunately has passed, but we're still waiting to see what the ramifications of that are. But I wanted to talk with Adam here today and see kind of what's going on down in Florida, pick his brain on how we can do a better job as insurance restoration professionals to protect our policyholders and protect our clients. So welcome, Adam.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on to the Hammer and Hustle. Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, so I've been a restoration contractor for 15 years on my own and about 28 years in total. I have degree in construction technology, and I have 7 state licenses. I'm also a licensed roofing contractor as well by license, but my passion and love is uh, property damage repairs, interior, and homeowners. Um, Advocating and educating homeowners is, I think it's instilled in all of us restoration guys. We go to these properties and they're damaged, and we're just built that way. We're built to help them, and in return for helping a customer, we get a job. So I love it, and I think it's been a good springboard into my new passion is the Florida Homeowners Insurance Alliance, which I started back in end of September. Just fed up, frustrated, sick and tired of being pushed around as a homeowner from our insurance companies, and it just finally got and said, you know what, I have all this knowledge. I know exactly what's going on. It's time to come on out and move to the front of the front row and say, here I am. This is what we are doing, and I want all Florida homeowners to join me and go down this path to get these insurance issues corrected. And it's like, how do we do this? We got no money, not like the insurance companies do, and how do we bring awareness to a topic no one likes to talk about? And most homeowners never read their policy. They just look for the lowest price possible. And I think people are sick and they're tired of it. And they're paying more attention now than ever. When I first started our Facebook group, just to test the waters to see, hey, I know there's pain out there. I wonder if the homeowners would really jump in and get involved. So I started the Florida Homeowners Alliance on a Friday night. By like Monday, there was like 500 people in this group, and I was like, "Oh man, this is something that's absolutely needed." And let's see where this goes because, and next within like a couple months, we have over 1,000 members. And I decided to turn it into a true nonprofit organization to bring some legitimacy to the organization and to represent the homeowners, because homeowners, they don't have a voice up there in Tallahassee or anywhere. No one truly represents homeowners specifically. Yes, we all have a vote, and independent, Democrat, Republican, whatever, and you go out and you vote, but you're not voting specifically for like-minded homeowners, like what's good for the homeowners. And we don't have that organization. That's what I want to create, or which I have created. It's just a matter of getting everybody aligned and joining to be that voice, that single voice that we want for, I like to say, fair and reasonable insurance for all. One voice, one mission. Fair and reasonable for reasonable insurance for all is the goal. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
So what's your intended purpose with the Florida Homeowner Alliance? Like, what's the all if the world was your oyster, what would be the ideal scenario for the Florida Homeowner Alliance? Like, would they be like a lobbying group in Tallahassee? Would they be helping rewrite regulations and uh, insurance? Because I'm sure that you guys have the Unfair Claims Practices Act, just like every other state, right? Would you be helping rewrite that legislation too?
Yeah, so I'm a big dreamer. I have big dreams and hopes for this organization. But yeah, we started with a simple goal of just educating and advocating, and how to educate customers on how to buy an insurance policy. Our current mission is to create a fairness score where there's definitely one superpower every homeowner has, and it's with their wallet, and how they purchase insurance. So if we can get our Florida homeowners buying better coverage, that would solve a big problem of all these policies out there that are just hollowed out with no coverage. You're paying extremely high prices for nothing. 50% of all claims are being denied in Florida. And there's been a lot of reductions that most people don't know about. 99% less coverage for matching damaged materials in Florida policies. So you're buying a policy that covers for 1% of matching materials. So imagine roof leak, patch, cabinet damage, that's a patch, floor damage, that's a patch too, because 1% is not going to cover anything.
No.
And so that's the primary focus for us, because we can accomplish that with our budget, with our manpower that we have. But the overall big goal is to influence long-term plan of we want like-minded people in office that represent Florida homeowners' best interest. We want fair and balanced insurance. Insurance is important for everybody. I'm not saying anti-insurance. It's a financial tool, part of your portfolio to protect your finances, your house, your savings. It's very important, life insurance. But then ultimately, I'd like to change it completely and convert the Florida Homeowner Alliance to the first ever nonprofit homeowner insurance company, where we're going to change everything with transparency, accountability that Florida homeowners deserve. None of this shell games and siphoning $14 billion into shell companies or affiliate companies and going bankrupt and us holding the bag for all these CEOs. Enough of the games. We want what's fair for everybody. And the only way to accomplish this is down the road, a nonprofit that you can see everything and be a member of it. And then I had a even bigger dream from there, is to help people become self-insured. Imagine having an insurance company, paying your insurance on your house and paying down your mortgage, and you have a savings naturally being built into your homeowner's insurance that one day would pay off your house one day, and you'd be self-insured. That would be pretty awesome, I think. So big dreams, really want just need to unite our homeowners. There's 10 million Florida homeowners out there. If we can just get like 0.5% of them to sign up for $3.99, we could do a lot of good, get a lot changed, and maybe that nonprofit insurance company could could be real, could be a real deal.
So and the funny thing is you're talking, I'm going, why couldn't we do that in Texas? Why couldn't we do that in Nebraska? Why couldn't we do that in Colorado? Because, I mean, so I don't know if you know this, but Florida and Nebraska are inextricably attached this year in the insurance industry. You know why? Florida was the highest number one residential premium in the country.
I know that.
Nebraska was number two. They've switched. Nebraska is now the single highest residential premium in the entire country.
Just more games.
It is. Well, and it's funny because I have people ask me all the time, um, "Oh, what insurance companies are the worst? Like, which ones do you not like to deal with?" And I said, anyone that advertises all the time. Like, you can make your inferences there, right? I'm not going to call names out, but if you see them advertising all the time, where do you think those dollars come from?
Yeah, they hey, I'm all for them making lots of money.
Sure, me too.
But when we're being pushed out of our homes, or well, I like to say for Florida, pushed out of paradise, and we're facing inflation that's created mostly by insurance companies for homeowners, where you buy a house and you everybody's on a budget, and you bought this house planning on your insurance being somewhat the same, and then the following year or two it triples, quadruples, and now you can't afford to stay in a home that you bought for your family. Your life savings is gone because now you got to walk away with it, walk away, sell it for a loss, or go bankrupt, or you name it. It's happening.
My my homeowner's insurance literally went up $350 a month this year.
Yeah, well,
I mean, and
I
that's
think most people's insurance here is something like $8,000 to $10,000 a year. You can't really pin down exactly what the averages is because the Office of Insurance Regulation likes to kind of throw different numbers all over the place. I took it right from the horse's mouth from the Tasha Pryor over at the Office of Insurance Consumer Advocate said it was average was $10,000 a year, and this was last year. Then I heard some from a special committee that insurance is coming down, and it's only coming down like less than 5%, and that's a positive direction, they say. Well, when it's already went up, 500%, 5% isn't going to do anything. Inflation is here. It's just I always lean to it's just disgusting what is going on, and I am surprised. We're like the one of the, there's only a select few people that are like raising all get out trying to get awareness of these problems, and homeowners just walk around and just take it. They're just taking it, and it's just not right.
well, and it's mind-boggling to me the amount of homeowners that don't understand what's happening to their insurance policies, and there's zero to no education going on, other than people like you that are going, "Hey, you guys, your policies are being completely stripped. Like, do you not understand that? Like, now you've got 1% coverage." I remember in Florida when we loved it because 25% of the roof got damaged, done. The roof's done, like complete roof replacement, easy peasy. And I was actually a little bit about me. I worked for a company when I first started. I worked on the staff adjuster side, and I worked for a company based out of Jacksonville. It was Fidelity National Financial. And so I was actually a staff licensed adjuster in the state of Florida for 16 years. It just expired actually a couple years ago. So like from 2005 to 2021, I was a staff licensed adjuster in Florida.
It's changed.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not the same.
it's not even, you're not even
Yeah,
playing in the same,
yeah.
like playing the same game
It's a
anymore.
difference between light and dark.
Yeah.
You
It's
know.
like showing up to a baseball game in football pads. I mean, the the game has changed so much. And I actually, uh, when Hurricane Hermione came through Tallahassee, I was there. Like I've worked probably 7 or 8 different hurricanes. I was there for Hurricane Michael up in Mexico City Beach. Like I've been all over Florida, and like the homeowners, I remember sitting on the plane because I was flying home from after Hurricane Michael. I'd been down there for a couple weeks, and that storm still lives with me. That storm was brutal. Um, but I was sitting next to an older lady on the plane, and of course I strike up a conversation with her, and she was telling me about how awful her insurance company was being, even at that point. Like, and that was, I mean, so that would have been 2018, I think. I was there no late November, early December 2018, and she's like, we can't get anybody to come out. The adjuster came out, walked around the property for like 10 minutes, said that we had like $20,000 worth of damage. Our contractor's like, no, it's more like 300. And she's like, we don't know what to do. I
It's pretty
said,
common.
call a public adjuster. I mean, what else do you do? And that's
I
a
mean,
staff adjuster saying that.
yeah. Well, I don't know what it's like in Nebraska, but most of our calls that go to our office or the people who are reaching out from the FHIA to us, their claims are denied.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to do. Can't afford the attorney. Maybe they got a third of their claim paid out, but there's not enough of the claim to even bother to fight the insurance company because it all goes to the attorneys and court system anyways to get the rest of the money. So they know exactly where the math lies, the pain point to prevent the policyholder from taking action. Um, but it's a very tough situation, and we want anybody out there listening. You don't have to be a Florida contractor or homeowner to join the Florida Homeowners Alliance. This is the testing ground for bad policies in Florida, and it's just the stories people say about their insurance. It's a pretty common theme: denied, underpaid, low played, and it's growing every day because there's no accountability um, uh, for anything in Florida. I mean, our legislators just bow. They're like the lapdogs for the insurance companies. So, I mean, just a prime example. You have the House of Representatives here in Florida that clearly want to do something. They wrote a fair bill to bring back bring back the attorney fees, and then in the Senate they just block it. They just like, oh, we didn't get to it. We don't concur with it. We didn't get to it. It's it's the last day of session. Goodbye. We'll see you next year. And here we are with not a single insurance law change this year, in light of like a the reports of billions of dollars being siphoned out by affiliates, by reports saying that there is something like 14 insurance companies denying more than 50% of the claims. And we just like, what is going on here? And then you got another conspiracy on our governor taking $10 million to his wife's nonprofit. And he gets questioned about it. And his response is, you're going to love this one. He says to the reporters, it's just a cherry on top. He says to the reporters, $10 million my wife's nonprofit that does nothing. It's just a cherry on top. So Florida is a shady place. Let me rephrase that. Florida is a sunny place for shady politicians. You know what I mean? So it's pretty bad here. I've been on Channel 5 News twice talking about insurance. I went on live on Channel 5 questioning a House representative and another panel of people, and I'm a real big I'm really big into the I don't know if you heard of the American Policyholders Association or not.
I saw your T-shirt.
Yeah, I had to wear it,
Yeah, I saw
so
it.
I
Well,
would have wore a FHIA shirt, but I decided to go with my APA shirt today. And Doug Quinn and their team over there, they're doing the real fight. And if there's a national organization for everybody to join, if you're not a member of the APA and you're out there complaining about insurance and how they're mistreating homeowners, and how it's affecting your business, you should just shut up now, because you need to hurry up and give them something, because they're out there flying around all over this country fighting everything. They just happen to end up in Florida because what they say, shit goes downhill. Well, Florida's at the bottom of our country and we got a bunch of shit here.
I want to go back and I want to touch on the 50% of the claims. The 14, you said 14 insurance companies are denying more than 50% of their claims.
Yeah, on
I
average.
on average, and I think that I even saw one that was as high as 73%.
Yeah, there's been some secret reports going out in the news. The Tampa Bay Chronicles, I think they do a good job on reporting the nonsense that's happening. And there's another news outlet there. There's two news outlets. I think it's like the Miami Herald's doing a pretty good job getting the truth out. But it feels like more than 50% for sure. I know my business. I used to be 99% insurance claim driven work. The customer calls in, has damage. 99% of the time, we're working with them. We're working with their insurance company, writing estimates, getting the job done, to probably 99% no insurance, self pay, people getting financing to pay for things. And then if they do have a claim, it's either with an attorney or a public adjuster, or they just took some money and they're just throwing in the towel and getting some financing from us and getting their places fixed. So it's way worse than they say in the papers for sure.
Well, and that's the thing is that if you think about it, that percentage is just flat denials. So how many of the remainder of those claims are underpaid, not investigated properly, like all of the things, people that are familiar with me, like there's three things I say about public adjust or about like staff adjusters. They're overworked, they're underpaid, and they're undertrained. So when you put all three of those together, you get a perfect scenario of someone that doesn't know how to properly investigate the claim, has probably never done a construction job in their life. And if they have, it was last week, or they went to when I went. So I worked for Liberty Mutual for a few years back in the early 2010s, and they tried to train their people. They had a place up in Massachusetts where they built a whole house in this in this storage facility, and they had actually made cutouts so you could see how things went together and all of that. But what they didn't do is, okay, now that we know the construction side of things, they don't know what can water do to it, what can fire do to it, because or even with like we see a lot now with wind and hail, like the on the roofs, so the damage is 7 or 8 shingles, right? Well, now we can't get those shingles. The manufacturer's telling us we can't install those 7 or 8 shingles because there's a do not mix or whatever the case may be. And now the homeowner's sitting here in the middle, like, well, my contractor's saying we can't do the work. The insurance company's saying we're only going to pay for this. No, what am I supposed to do?
All right. Who's
You
looking
know,
out for the homeowner? You know,
and they've never been through it before. I mean, if heaven forbid it's a water loss or a fire loss, this is the worst. Like this is the worst time of their life.
yeah. And then what happens too is they turn around and they call their insurance agent. The insurance agent probably didn't want them to file a claim in the first place. And I mean, they're just, it's not good for business for the insurance agents to have their customers filing claims. A lot of them get paid by recurring commissions, and I heard that if one of their policies files a claim, they actually get less commission the following year off that policy. So they're being incentivized to tell their customers not to file claims. Uh, from what I've been told, I don't know if it's all insurance agencies or all insurance companies doing that, but I've heard that before. And then also I heard from a Florida insurance company that's no longer in business. They used to pay bonuses based upon shrinkage. So if they can undercut the estimate, then their boss would pay them a bonus percentage off of how much less they paid out under the contractor's estimate. So that's definitely occurred, but they're out of business already. So I don't know if this tactic's being done at any other insurance companies, but I'm sure there's definitely some incentives taking place to get their adjusters to underpay.
Yeah. So when I worked for one of the big carriers, we did our end of year bonus was directly tied to whether the insurance company made a profit or not. And it was just the property and casualty side. So it had nothing to do with investments because I remember it was 2015. Was that the year that Florida got hit with 5 named hurricanes? I
I
th-
know 2017 was Irma, and then '04 and '05 was like Gene and Francis or something like
yeah,
that.
it could have been 2017. We like the property and casualty side of things lost like over $300 million, but the insurance company made 3.2 billion.
Yeah, so I did let me see if I can find it. I did this graph, did some research on my own, and I created this graph based upon the top three insurance companies, top three hurricanes and how much the insurance companies actually paid out of those losses. Let me see if I can find that. That is some pretty eye-opening information there. Let me see here. See if we can find this really fast.
No, and I can imagine that Michael was pretty substantial.
Where is this information?
I don't know, but I just remember so we stayed in a we had a so at the time I was working for as a forensic building consultant. So are you familiar with them?
I post so often on the Facebook group. There's so if anybody's out there, you want to join the FHIA Facebook group, it's free, and there's a lot of posting going on. There's a lot of information. You can really spend a lot of time scrolling down, reading everything, and getting up to speed. Um, it's where is this? All right. Well, I don't have it
That's
available right off the bat here, so
that's okay.
let me
If you want to find it, it's probably out in the FHIA group.
yeah. It's oh my goodness. Since we started this thing, we're probably posting 2, 3 times a day and everybody else is posting. It's oh, I found it. All right. So I did this graph and it was the top three hurricanes that hit Florida. So we got Hurricane Andrew in 92, Hurricane Ian in 22, and then Hurricane Helene in 2024, right? Those are the top three biggest. And what's what's crazy about this is that in Hurricane Andrew, so I did a graph based upon the percentage of wind losses covered by the insurance company. So just all wind, what they paid for, and of Hurricane Andrew, the insurance companies covered something like 60 something percent of all the wind claims that came through, right? But then Hurricane Ian came through, they covered like just over 20% of the wind claims. And then Helene came through at 2024 and they covered just at 5% of the wind claims. So
Wow.
everything is just reducing of what they're really covering. It's just it's amazing, what's happening.
That's I mean, good for the insurance company.
Yeah, so like Andrew was a $25 billion storm and they paid out approximately 15.5 billion of that. And then Ian was 112 billion, and I believe they paid out somewhere between 22 and 32 billion in wind losses. And then Hurricane Helene was 78 billion, and they paid out somewhere between 4.5 and 6.5 billion. So they're shrinking everything, and Florida homeowners are holding the bag, not getting their houses fixed.
Well, yeah, it's not the insurance company that's holding the bag, or this even the state of Florida. I mean, well, and who knows what's going to happen with FEMA at this point too? Because I've heard there's some talks about a reduction of FEMA, if not eliminating FEMA entirely. So that I don't know what that means for the National Flood Insurance Program as well.
Yeah, so what we got here? So check this out. Okay. We had an insurance company called UPC. I don't know if you're familiar with UPC.
I actually am.
Yeah, so they declared to go insolvent back in February 2023 with 135,000 policies. Their parent company, United Holdings, rebranded itself as American Coastal Insurance. American Coastal Insurance went from $1.06 in 2022 when they went insolvent, when their other company, UPC, went insolvent in 2023. Their stock surged 790% and closed at $9.46. So what they did is they rebranded themselves. They shifted all of their good policies over to Coastal Insurance Company, dumped their open claims on FIGA, threw all their high risk policies to Citizens, and all their hedge fund investors jumped in and skyrocketed their stocks, and it ended up at 946 that month, the month that they went bankrupt. But the following month, I'm sorry, in January 30th, 2025, when I last looked at it, it was $12.49. So they made more money in the stock market by doing that than anything else.
Well, and talk about how I don't even know how you should be able to do that. Like you shouldn't be. Like if you go insolvent and then you can just I'm going to go over here now and I'm going to leave all of this for the government to take care of, right? So FIGA, that's the Department of Insurance.
It's a Florida Insurance Guarantee.
There you go.
It's a
Yep.
program designed to pick up the open claims to protect us. Uh, and it is definitely one of the worst ran insurance companies in the nation.
Well, and so every state has something like that
Yeah.
that's attached, and like usually all of the to be an insurance company in that state, you have to pay money into this fund. So that way, if someone goes insolvent, and we 9 times out of 10, we only see it in Florida. It doesn't happen in a lot of other places,
Well,
to
I
be
mean,
honest.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, if I went bankrupt and the government picked up all my remodels and water damage jobs, and I got to leave with the money, I mean, what's stopping me from just repeating that bad behavior and running with the money, right?
Right.
I
Well,
mean, I
that's
wouldn't do it because it's not right, but I mean, there are bad people out there, and the way they do this is they open up multiple insurance companies at the same time. Like many people don't know this, but like State Farm, I'm not sorry, Frontline Insurance is really owned by three different insurance companies.
mhm.
They're just sharing the logo and that they're all DBA'd off of the same using the same DBA. So three companies, one brand. If one arm goes belly up, nobody will know. They're not going to be like, oh, Frontline's going out of business. No, it's going to be the subsidiary's name going out of business. If you go and you look up like, oh boy, there's if you just go look them up, you'll see some. Even on Google Maps, they'll show like 3, 4 insurance companies in the same building. They're not even trying to hide it. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, and it's funny because like Nationwide Insurance is based out of Des Moines, so their headquarters isn't very far from me. Um, but when you get an estimate from Nationwide, it doesn't say Nationwide Insurance across the top. It's Depositors Insurance of Iowa or whatever, like some subsidiary that they have underneath, and then Nationwide. Nationwide's just the logo and the brand, essentially.
Yeah, I get it. I think I mean, it's all about protecting your risk and stuff. But I mean, if you're protecting your risk to harm people on purpose, that's a different story. It's one thing if you're out there and you're like, hey, I need to protect my family because I don't want something to accidentally happen and I lose everything I own, and I didn't do it on purpose. I mean these CEOs, I feel like it's part of their business model now to. I mean, are they hurting people? Yeah, I feel like they're hurting people. Is there programs to protect people from them? Yeah, FIGA, Citizens. But it's just I'm ready for the cycle of systematic fraud to come to an end. I'm tired of reading scandal after scandal. there needs to be some harder rules, harder laws. Like, hey, you just bankrupted and stole money from you owe this money to all these people and you didn't pay them. So in essence, you stole the money from them, and you should go to jail. Like
Hmm.
that level of. But there's no incentive for them to stay in business if they know they have a golden parachute called Florida, insurance guarantee, or FIGA.
Hmm.
So it's just, I mean, what's the solution to it? I think the state needs to look at all these bad actors and be like, hey, we're not letting you open another insurance company. You have been barred from doing that. But it just seems like they just always seem to come out on top, and Florida homeowners are always on the bottom. And all we want is fair insurance. That's it.
Well, and it's just a fair market, right? Like if I want to go buy insurance, like if I to the point where they have it so regulated and so turned down, like in Nebraska, like when we hit there's an appraisal clause in every policy, right? And the appraisal clause is if we disagree on scope and price, you hire a disinterested third party. The insurance company hires a disinterested third party. If they can't come to an agreement, then they hire an umpire, and it's two out of the three, right? That's the appraisal panel. Well, in the state of Nebraska, you have to have both parties agree to go to appraisal.
Yeah, same here in Florida.
So, so, and now in Iowa, it's different. Iowa, it's a one party state. So if you want to go to appraisal, you're going to appraisal. But when which is how it should be,
It should
because
be.
now what happens, and I'm sure it happens in Florida just like it happens here, is that we disagree with the insurance company and say, well, why don't we go to appraisal? We'll let two disinterested third parties work it out. Makes sense, right? That's why it's there.
Yeah. Well,
And
yeah,
here's the
that you just nailed it because it makes sense,
yeah, yeah, right.
right?
And
And in Florida, there some of the policies coming out don't have appraisal in them at all. They're taking them out, and they're pushing for arbitration to be added in instead. And right underneath everybody's noses is the Office of Insurance Regulation, and they're doing more damage to the policyholder than anybody else. You know, if we were just stuck with today's statutes, it wouldn't be nearly as bad. But the Office of Insurance has allowed the insurance companies to put steering clauses in there to prevent the policyholder from hiring the contractor of your choice, not because of merit, good reviews, being locally owned and operated, and given back to the community. It's because they're being forced to by a limit that's being waived if they hire the financial relationship of their affiliate vendor. Okay, then
it's so wrong.
they allowed a 99% reduction of matching materials. They've shoot what they put a they put an option to repair clause, meaning the insurance company can choose to repair it versus pay out the insured for the damages so they can fix it themselves. And if they don't let their contractor come in, they'll deny the claim. Nowhere in any state statute it says that. And then also they put in there a $3,000 limit for emergency mitigation. There's no state statute that allows them to do that. They put a $10,000 limit on repairs. And if you use the preferred vendor, they'll waive it. There's no state statute. There's not a single legislator in our state who ever said, hey, that's a great idea. Let's sign that into law. No, it's the regulators who are rubber stamping this crap, and it needs to stop. It needs to be investigated. It needs to be some major lawsuit. The attorney general needs to get involved. Somebody needs to do it. I've tried. It's just everybody's just really scared of the insurance companies, which is I don't blame them. Did you see what's going on with Jordan Lee, the whistleblower on 60 Minutes?
Yeah, I didn't. I saw the headline, but I didn't see what actually happened.
You got an adjuster who brought light to a serious problem of adjusters' estimates being manipulated and changed without their knowledge, payouts going to homeowners with their name on it of a different amount. Next thing you know, imagine you're an adjuster and these homeowners you met are sending you death threats, calling you up, threatening to kill you. Well, this guy did the right thing. He went in front of our Senate live and told them exactly what's going on. 60 Minutes picked up the story. American Policyholder was involved in the story on 60 Minutes. This guy put everything out there for us, for homeowners, contractors, adjusters, the whole industry, and he's being targeted by Heritage Insurance, and this is going to bankrupt his entire family. You don't go toe to toe with an insurance company with their bank account versus yours and expect to come out anything good from this. And they are punishing him to set an example so that nobody else goes out there and does the same thing. I mean, they're preventing the crowd effect, where one person does something and they start building a crowd and everybody starts following. So they don't want people following him, and and he did the right thing, and I'm very happy he did it. And Jordan, if you're listening to this, man, thank you so much for what you did for us, and I hope that there's a GoFundMe and everybody starts contributing to you, because the this man, I'm just stuttering over here, but it's just wrong what they're doing, and he has my support, and when that GoFundMe's up, I'm definitely donating money to this guy.
Yeah, I wonder if the APA could get involved in that and help in some type of defense, because I know like Stephen Michael Bush, and there's
Yeah, I'm
some
sure there.
there's
I'm
some
sure there's
heavy hitters
something
down
behind the
there.
scenes taking place. Um, you know, the APA. They're a great organization. They know exactly what they're doing, how they're doing. They have a mission. There's a lot that goes on. Uh, they're not like me out there on a podcast or doing live stream videos about what I'm up to, because I'm very transparent, and hopefully I don't get targeted either. That would suck.
Well,
But
and so like this is a news story, and you can go out, and if you Google it, it's Heritage Insurance and Jordan Lee, and it pulls it right up, right? Um, I found this as you were talking. I was kind of skimming through the article, and um, it's talking about the in many libel suits. So essentially Jordan Lee's being sued by Heritage for libel and defamation. Um, but it's funny because this caught my attention. It says in many libel suits, an aggrieved plaintiff, which is Heritage, will include the news outlet as defendant A. The Heritage spokesperson declined to answer Insurance Journal questions as why CBS News was not named in the Lee suit. Well, you know why? Because if CBS is involved, they've got big pockets. They are literally targeting him.
yeah, so where's
Hopefully, the judge that sees this case, that's the one that's going to try this case, is like, this is ridiculous and throws it out. But I mean, you never know, I guess.
yeah, so back to, while we're on the topic of Heritage, so Heritage got fined by the Office of Insurance Regulation, which I don't know if many people out there know, but Heritage was, if not the biggest, one of the biggest donors to our current CFO Jimmy Petronis's campaign. I heard the number somewhere between $2 to $3 million or something like that. Jimmy received, and of that, Heritage was right there with him. But I bet it really hurt Jimmy Petronis when he turned around and was involved in the OIR finding Heritage $1 million for not paying, for failed to pay or deny claims within a 90-day time frame. So the Office of Insurance did a review, just a small review of 324 claims that that was that they reviewed. So those were probably hand-picked claims of the probably 50,000 claims they had after Hurricane Ian, and 70 of them Heritage failed to pay or deny claims within the 90-day time frame. So that they broke bad faith laws, the 90-day rule for good faith, and they got fined $1 million. for not paying their bills. And here they are, still operating, doing more and more bad stuff in our to our industry. It's almost like these insurance companies should get together and say, Heritage, you're wrecking our industry and our look. You need to get out. But they just take plays from each other's books. But then another note, like Universal Property and Casualty got fined $4 million and had to repay $30 million to the Florida Hurricane Fund after settling agreement resolving allegations of fraud. So it's like, what? They took $30 million from the state and they got fined $4 million, but just return the money. You're good. You won't go to jail. I don't know about you, but you or I, we'd be locked up.
Well, yeah, big time.
The laws don't really apply to them. They got a license to do whatever they want. Big money, big money, which is fine. They've earned the right to be an insurance company. It's just they don't have the right to take advantage of us, and we should be treated fairly. I mean, and it's just on and on. And this was the first time ever I ever heard, the Florida Attorney General ever launching an investigation on an insurance company specifically. It's always like the contractors, the homeowners, never against the insurance company. This is the first time. So I guess for a first time doing it, he went all out and fined him $4 million, which, they just returned the money. I mean, $4 million on $30 million. That's not even the interest they earned over the time frame. Hurricane Irma. What year was Irma? Hurricane Irma. When was that?
Was that 2020?
2017.
2017.
2017.
So they've had that $30 million since 2017.
2017. Yeah. So say they've had the money since 2018. So that's what? 7 years, $30 million. What's that at 4%? Shoot, let me look here.
Well, and it wasn't just sitting in a bank account.
No, it's interest bearing.
Well,
we'll just do 4%. So 30 million times 0.04. It's 1.2 million a year, not counting compounding. So they made like $7-8 million of interest by passively income of like a treasury bond or something. But they did more than that. So they didn't even fine them to where they beyond what they would have made on it. Anyways, they're not hard enough on these people. They just laugh all the way to the bank. Hey, give me $30 million. Let me have it for 7 years. I'll give it back to you, and I'll give you $4 million in return. I mean, Florida was definitely the bank on that one.
Yeah. Well, and so then you go to like opposite end of the spectrum. You have states like California that have very strict regulations. I'm not sure if you're as familiar with claims handling in California, but like they have it down to where every 30 days you have to send a letter out to the homeowner telling them why the claim hasn't been resolved yet. And that's even if it's in like the actual cash value payment has went out and you're just waiting for the depreciation check to release, right? But the reason that if you don't, each instance is like a $5,000 fine. So it's funny because a lot of companies that operated in California actually just instituted all of this California regulations into every state. There's a couple companies that I know that did that, but that's why you saw State Farm pull out of Los Angeles, like down south, like Southern California, is because they didn't want to have to deal with the regulations anymore. So then they turn around, they come to states like Nebraska, which are insurance carrier friendly, right? Like the department, I would love to see what the donations from these insurance companies to the local politicians, like I'm talking like state level politicians are, because I think that's why you don't see the enforcement that you should. Like the Department of Insurance here in the state of Nebraska, while okay, a lot of these policies are getting rubber stamped that have, like in Nebraska, the biggest risk that we face as homeowners in Nebraska is wind and hail. It's hands down the biggest risk, right? So probably similar to Florida, but it's more wind and hurricane, right? Like so you have some additional water damage in there. But they have gotten it to the point where like our wind and hail deductibles, like I've seen 5%, which is just essentially saying you're self-insuring.
Yeah, I did a whole explainer thing for some legislators about roof cover, how much a roof costs and how much the hurricane deductible is, and and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's not even worth having insurance if you got a 5% deductible and your roof's only $15,000 or $20,000 to replace. I mean, what's the point?
Yeah,
We're a Republican state. We're a big red state, and this is a Republican issue. Since we're a super majority, I'm a Republican, but uh, I am the Florida Homeowners Insurance Alliance is a bipartisan group. We vote for the right person for the right spot. I think that's a lot of people in our state are going to have to learn that. We're very polarized, left or right, and our problems are currently the Republican Party. But at the same time, I think like if it was a supermajority Democratic Party, we'd probably be in the same spot. Eventually, the lobbyists get their way, and it just shifts sides.
yep,
Whoever's in control gets the lobbying money.
yeah.
It's a shame.
It's yeah, and the person that's caught holding the bag is the homeowner
Yeah,
or the
to
business owner.
me, if I'm for definitely now when I look at voting for somebody, I'm asking questions like, okay, is my party supporting them? you know and is the party that I represent, is it more of a national topic, or are they talking about what's happening to us to here in my backyard? And I think a lot of people, especially the Republicans, got clouded by all the national national stuff, and no one really talked about what's going on here, like insurance. And knowing that the Republican Party is pro insurance, I think that if you are voting Republican, I would not be voting with party for the Republicans, the candidate. And with that said, I don't know if anybody knows this name, but his name's Dr. Frank Coolidge, and he's one of our own running for CFO of Florida. And he's not backed by our party. He is Republican. He's a veteran. He's worked for the State Department. He's a public adjuster, and he is pro-consumer. And we need to make sure we support him and vote him in, because it's going to be a big race. I think that he is gaining traction, and I think that the insurance lobbyists and everybody else, they they might already know about me. I would be surprised if they didn't. And we're going to be backing him and everybody and our members. So you got to get out and vote if you're from Florida listening to this, and especially listening this long. Here, we're 54 minutes in. We're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you having me on. Um, any way to get the information out about our Florida homeowners group? If anybody wants any information about it, just go to our website, which is fhia.group. And everything starts in Florida, and hopefully we can get some stuff corrected in Florida and help every other state out. And the whole thing's it's a David versus Goliath situation, definitely.
Yeah, my kids. I have a couple of older girls. They're 14, and a son who's 12, and then I have a 5-year-old. But my twins who are 14 have started equating it to a Robin Hood fight. Like, you know what I mean? Almost insurmountable odds. But David and Goliath is the same
David
breath, right?
Goliath, yeah. It's gonna take a village, and it's gonna take people saying, uh, "Here's 3.99. Do what you can do with it. I don't need a coffee from this. I just know it's going to a good organization, and they have my back. We're not that organized right now. So if you are a current paying member, we don't have any newsletters going out. We're just out there using what we have to build materials and this fairness score sheet. So a little bit more about the fairness score sheet, and then I got to run here soon.
Yeah.
Is that so? The fairness score sheet is all about the buying power of our homeowners. So we're going to have a questionnaire that's going to be yes, no questions, key questions to know what's in the policy. It could be basic questions like, do you think you think your dwelling coverage is enough to pay for your house at a total loss, right? Yes or no. But then it's going to lead into the fine print questions like, does your policy have policy in it, clause in it? Do you have coverage for matching materials? Does it have a steering clause? Does it have any limitations of on your roof? I mean, it's going to cover all those fine print clauses so you can score it, and it's going to be plus or minus score, and then they'll give it a grade. And then you're going to be looking at your policy, and you go, hey, this policy has a C grade fairness score from the FHIA. I am looking at 3 different policies for my house. I'm trying to make a decision which policy I should go with. So I'm going to do a score on each one of them. And then I'm going to say to myself, all right, well, all these policies are within, $500 of each other. I could save money by going to the cheap one, but that has a rating of C. But I can spend a little bit more and get a rating of B, and I'll have more coverage. At this point, I think more coverage is worth the extra $500.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with a better coverage. Well, guess what? Maybe the guy with a C rating is going to go, why can't we sell policies? We better put more coverage in our policy so that when they're comparing and getting their fairness score, I'm competing with the other guy. It's kind of like the winemakers. You ever buy a bottle of wine and you're at ABC Liquor or wherever you buy your fine bottles of wine, and Wine Magazine has a point system.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at wine, you're making that decision, and it's like, man, $5 more, I'm going to get a 94-point bottle of wine. You know that must be good. And the winemaker over there saying at 89 points and just lost the sale is trying to think, how can I make my wine better to win that competition so I get more points so I can sell more wine? Well, that's my train of thought. Like, we're definitely not getting new CEOs in Florida. It's the same people, same CEOs creating new names, new shell companies, but how can we bring competition between them? And maybe this fairness score may do that. I don't know. It could be. I think once it's developed, we'll get it out all the agents and start implementing it. I envision the homeowner saying, hey, agent, you're selling me this insurance. You fill out this questionnaire form and sign the bottom of it so that you know what you're selling me and I know what the score is. How about that? And then do it to all the policies so I can make a decision what to buy, so that it's just not a bunch of agents peddling the cheapest policy, the cheapest price to the customer, and the customer doesn't know. They don't read it. They're not attorneys, and they're not adjusters or anything like that. We're just average people. We don't know about these fine prints. We think, hey, we'll never have to file a claim, but I'm required to do it by my mortgage company. So I'm forced to do it. I just need cheap because I can barely make ends meet because insurance is already 3-4 times too much. And you talk to a legislator and they think, oh, the homeowner policy is a contract between them and the insurance company, and they don't want the government getting involved in it. But we're supposed to protect the people, and the majority of the people in Florida are getting hurt. They're getting crushed. And there's no point in having an Office of Insurance Regulation if they're not regulating for the people. I mean, right now they're more of a cover-up service, and so that's what we're working on. We're gonna shake it up, and hopefully we're impactful and bring some positive change is what I'm hoping for. And we could roll this out to every state in the country. If any of your followers or anybody that listens to this wants to open a local chapter, we can change the name instead of Florida Homeowners Alliance, just call it Homeowners Insurance Alliance, and roll it out each chapter. We can share information and hopefully find a bunch of passionate people like yourselves to say, you know what, I love my community. I'll have a meeting once a month, and let's get this information going, and protect each other.
Yep, it wouldn't be hard to change it from Florida Homeowner Insurance Alliance to National Homeowner Insurance
Yeah,
Alliance.
just drop the name Florida, and we are. We're national.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's a conversation with Adam from the Florida Homeowner Insurance Alliance. You can tell that he's very passionate about it, as all of us should be, because if we don't stop the push pushing and the deregulation and the adoption of some of these egregious policy provisions or lack of policy provisions, um, it's going to affect everyone, not just us, not just Florida, not just Nebraska. It's going to, because the minute that it successfully rolls out in one of those states, it's going to roll out to all states. That's how they do it. It all rolls downhill. Well, I guess kind of uphill in this instance, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate your time, Adam.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on. We'll have to get together soon. We'll have to get together, especially when I get down to Florida next time.
Yeah, get down to Florida, and then I'd be happy to hop on again and do another podcast
Absolutely.
whenever. There's lots to talk about.
Oh yeah, there is. All right, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.